Divorce proceedings are supposed to be boring, sterile, almost clinical. That's what I thought when I walked into the courthouse that morning. A few lawyers, a judge, a stack of documents that could weigh a ton. Nothing dramatic, nothing cinematic. Then I saw her, my wife Vanessa, sitting there like a queen in her perfectly tailored suit, hair coiffed, makeup flawless, smile sharp. She had that look, the one that said she already knew she was winning. I took a deep breath and tried to focus. I had spent weeks preparing, financials, legal documents, evidence of her infidelity, everything lined up like pieces on a chessboard. I knew the law, I knew the rules, but what I didn't realize was that she had mastered courtroom theater. When the trial began, she smiled at me in that way, the kind of smile that made you doubt yourself. She leaned back in her chair, arms crossed, and whispered to her attorney something I couldn't hear but didn't need to. She was mocking me. It started small. A laugh at a comment I made about shared property. A smirk when the judge asked about the accounts we held jointly. I tried to stay composed. I tried to remain professional. But inside, every laugh, every tilt of her head felt like a knife twisting. By the time we reached the financial section of the trial, I had had enough. She leaned over to whisper something to her lawyer and laughed. Full, sharp, the kind of laughter that echoes in your head long after it's over. I stopped. I turned slowly. She thought I was about to explode verbally. She didn't know I had something else planned. The courtroom was crowded, hushed. Everyone was waiting for the drama to erupt. Lawyers poised pens over papers. The judge raised an eyebrow. I stood. "Your Honor," I said calmly, "if I may demonstrate something." Vanessa's laughter stopped mid-breath. She looked at me, confused. I reached for my shirt, slowly, methodically, and I took it off. Not violently, not in anger, just off. The room went silent. Every pair of eyes shifted to me. The murmuring stopped. The air grew heavier, thicker. You could hear a pin drop. Vanessa's jaw dropped. She had not expected that. Not this. Not in a million years. "Is this part of some stunt?" she whispered to her attorney. I didn't respond. I just stood there, calm, confident, bare-chested. What she didn't know, and what the courtroom would soon realize, was that I had been preparing for this moment for months. Not physically, though I had trained relentlessly. Not theatrically, though it looked dramatic. I had evidence hidden in plain sight. Documents, financial records, secret accounts, proof of her affairs, all lined up in a binder on the table. The kind of evidence that makes a court sit up straight and pay attention. I walked over to the table, placed the binder carefully in front of the judge. Then, without a word, I motioned for the court reporter to record my statement. "Your Honor," I said, voice steady, "what you are about to see will explain why the laughing and mocking you witnessed from the opposing party was not only inappropriate, but part of a larger pattern of deception." The courtroom leaned in. I went through everything: hidden accounts, credit cards in her name with unexplained transactions, evidence of the affair she had laughed about so freely. Each revelation landed like a hammer. Vanessa's color drained. Her smug smile disappeared. The confident posture crumpled. The judge paused several times, reviewing documents, raising an eyebrow. Even her attorney seemed shaken, muttering under their breath. Every laugh she had given me, every smirk, every whisper of, "You'll never catch me," came back to haunt her in that courtroom. By the time I finished, the entire room was silent. The kind of silence that presses on your chest, that hums with shock, disbelief, and awe. Vanessa sat there, stunned. Not a word, not a defense, just wide-eyed realization. I took a deep breath, put my shirt back on, and sat down. The trial continued, but the power dynamic had shifted irreversibly. The evidence I presented, coupled with the unexpected shock of my composure and methodical reveal, left the courtroom and Vanessa completely unbalanced. She tried to speak, tried to regain control, tried to laugh again, but it was hollow, empty, weak. I could see it. Everyone could see it. By the end of the day, the judge had made preliminary rulings in my favor. custody considerations, financial allocations, even legal fees. My planning, patience, and yes, the courtroom theatrics of removing my shirt at exactly the right moment had paid off in a way I hadn't imagined possible. Walking out of that courtroom, Vanessa avoided my gaze. The smugness was gone. Her laughter had disappeared. She knew finally that she had underestimated me, and that underestimation had cost her everything. Sometimes, revenge isn't about rage. It's about timing, preparation, and making your opponent realize in the quietest, most shocking way that they no longer hold the power. And for me, standing there bare-chested for those 10 seconds, letting the silence sink in, that moment wasn't just about the courtroom. It was about reclaiming every ounce of respect she had thought she could strip from me and proving that composure can be the deadliest weapon of all.